The Victory of Hope. Henry was an athletic boy who had always dreamt of being the fastest runner in his school. He was inspired by his father's tales of perseverance and victory from his own youth, yet Henry's journey was anything but easy. Despite his enthusiasm, he wasn't naturally fast, and at the start of the school year, he consistently finished last in every practice race. Henry's coach, Mrs. Watson, saw something in him that numbers couldn't measure. "You have the heart of a champion, Henry," she told him one afternoon after practice. "Speed can be developed, but belief and determination, those come from within." Inspired by her words, Henry resolved to work harder than ever before. For months, Henry followed an intense training regimen. Early morning runs, hours at the gym, and strict attention to his diet became his new normal. His best friend, Tom, often accompanied him to the track for moral support. "You're improving every day, Henry," Tom encouraged. "I can see it. Just keep going." Beyond the physical training, Henry also worked on his mindset. He started reading books about resilience and success, watching inspirational documentaries, and practicing visualization techniques. Every night, he imagined himself crossing the finish line first, the crowd roaring in the background. These mental exercises became as important to him as the hours he spent training. As the annual school championship approached, Henry's confidence grew. He knew he wasn't the favorite. Other boys like Ethan and Caleb had always been faster, but Henry believed that his preparation had given him a real chance. On race day, the school stadium buzzed with excitement. The air was thick with anticipation, and students and parents filled the stands, waving banners and cheering for their teams. Henry's heart pounded as he lined up with the other runners. "Remember, focus on your lane," Mrs. Watson advised from the sidelines. "One step at a time." The starting gun fired, and Henry bolted forward. His training had paid off. He was keeping pace with the leaders. The rhythmic pounding of feet on the track and the roar of the crowd seemed to fade into the background as he focused on his strides. But halfway through the race, disaster struck. Henry's foot clipped the edge of another runner's shoe, and he tumbled to the ground. For a moment, time seemed to stop. The crowd gasped, and Henry could feel tears of frustration welling up. He lay there, stunned, as the other runners sped ahead. But then he remembered his coach's words, "The heart of a champion." This wasn't the end unless he allowed it to be. Summoning every ounce of determination, Henry pushed himself up and started running again. The finish line seemed impossibly far away, but Henry focused on his rhythm and his breath. His knees ached, and his palms stung from where they had scraped the track, but he pressed on. One by one, he began overtaking runners ahead of him. The crowd's cheers grew louder as they noticed his comeback. Parents stood, students screamed his name, and Mrs. Watson clapped her hands furiously from the sidelines. With just 20 meters left, Henry was neck and neck with Ethan, the leading runner. Ethan glanced sideways, his face a mixture of surprise and determination. "You can do it, Henry!" Tom shouted from the stands. With a final burst of energy, Henry surged ahead. Every muscle in his body screamed in protest, but he didn't stop. He crossed the finish line, just a fraction of a second before Ethan. The stadium erupted in applause. He had done it, he had won first place. As Henry stood on the podium, gold medal around his neck, he looked out at the cheering crowd and felt a swell of pride. The journey had been difficult, but every fall, every setback, had only made this moment sweeter. He spotted his parents in the stands, tears of joy streaming down their faces, and felt a wave of gratitude for everyone who had believed in him. After the race, Henry spoke to a group of younger students who were inspired by his victory. "Life isn't about never falling," he said. "It's about getting back up every time you do." Believe in yourself, even when the odds seem stacked against you. Hard work, perseverance, and hope can take you farther than you ever imagined. Henry's story became a beacon of inspiration at his school, a reminder that champions are not just born, they are made through effort, resilience, and unshakable hope. The school later named the annual race after Henry, calling it the Champions Run, a tribute to his incredible comeback and the lesson he left for generations to come. Like, share and subscribe for more stories.